Hey ladies, so I want to kind of talk to you today about something that I really got thinking about. So let's talk about mental abusers, and let's talk about what type of men are mentally abusive. So I think I've been noticing this a lot. A good way you know a guy is a mental abuser is if they attack you for defending yourself instead of attacking those who are causing you the mental or physical harm. So if a guy is telling you, ignore it, take it, instead of who said it, where is he, then that person has a very skewed moral compass. Okay? If a guy is trying to minimize your suffering and telling you it's no big deal instead of hearing you out and saying, okay, what's causing this and how can we get it to stop and what can I do to help, and instead they're flipping it on you, that's a good sign that this person is a mental abuser. Now, so many guys think that the only way you are a mental abuser is if you verbally say, like, oh, you're fat, or you're this, or you're that. No. Mentally, like, sick, demented guys can hide behind, a facade. They can, wear beautiful clothes. They can have the best hair. They can belong to the best yacht clubs. They can be part of any religion. And they simply will minimize your suffering to make you look like you're the crazy person instead of understanding where you're coming from and recognizing that the behavior you're describing, that or you setting your boundaries, um, is valid or not valid, right? It's very interesting how weak men who secretly have a predator lying inside them, residing inside of them, don't get like they're not comfortable around women who are strong, formidable, firm, witty, sarcastic, or anything like that. They simply want you to be quiet, sit down, shut up, and they constantly deflect your feelings and they think that's being a good woman. It's pretty strange. Um Again, I think women, we have to start really recognizing the manipulative behavior of a lot of men, because a lot of men are very sly in the way they manipulate. They always take the contrary opinion, or they're always trying to handpick you to death and slice and dice your opinions to the point where you're like, no, no, you're mixing my words and you're inverting what I said and you're twisting it to try to manipulate others to congregate around it and such and such. And they see a woman who is, strong as a bossy bitch or somebody who is cunty or, is out of control or unstable. And that shows you a lot about how sick their mentality is. It shows you that maybe their mother was just under the boot of her husband and was just very mellow, and that their father and mother didn't prepare them to deal with actual free, independent, free thinking, sovereign women. And a weak man gets intimidated by a strong woman, right? And a strong man sees the value in having a sort of asset like that on his team and within his life. Because a woman can hold you down if she's strong. She can, steer the ship as the tides crash on, right? Just having somebody who's meek and a mouse and they let you abuse them and stomp on them and they do your laundry and clean up after you like a little baby. That is pretty dark. And that's why a lot of women suffer today, is because they think the only way to be a good woman is to just take abuse. And whenever you bite back, and whenever you snap back, you clap back, you're the one who's the bad one instead of the people who are doing the behaviors that you don't like. Every woman has the right to say what they do and don't like. And if a man can't handle a woman asserting herself in that way, it really shows you where their moral compass is, where it actually is, not where they want the illusion to make it seem where it is. Okay? And we have to be very careful of that as women. A lot of men will use women just to get some, views, or they'll use women to have the clout, or they'll cozy up next to you and coattail ride you to pump up what they're doing instead of really vibing with you and seeing where you're coming from and getting to know you. Again, Women have had to hold down the family in times of war and in times of danger, right? A woman who cries and buckles under pressure and can't really firm herself up is not going to be really survivable. You know, she's not really going to last very long, right? You need to have a woman who knows, like, no, no. And an intelligent woman knows how to interact with these types of men. This is why women have to get in positions of power to make it easier for other women to come up. And we have to support each other. We have to stand together, and we really have to have a sort of sisterhood. We have to have boundaries of not taking other women's men and to not constantly talk about a woman's looks. We have to kind of come together in a sort of sisterhood. Not like the radical extreme feminists. No, not like that. Not like the not like that. Not like the third wave feminists who see misogyny in everything, right? No, no, no. I'm talking about how we have to say, you know what? How you're treating my friend is not okay. And I'm not going to let you do it. And if you do it, you're going to get smacked. See, women think that you being aggressive is bad. But it's very strange that men who think a woman learning how to fight or knowing how to wrestle and things like that this is dangerous because you won't be able to control her. And if you talk to that girl too much, you're going to get bored of each other. And it's like, what are you talking about? It's just, there's a lot of men who weren't given social skills and who think that rigid, just crushing, soul crushing, just like, do what I say, like you're some sort of dog, that's the way a good woman behaves. I have seen so many women abused. I've survived a lot of relationships like that, and a lot of the women in my family had suffered from that. And it's time that we women start talking about it more openly. It's time that we start saying to each other, no, how you're being treated is not okay. If somebody hits you once, you hit them back. You don't cower and cry. You get a frying pan and do what you gotta do till you can get an officer involved. Now that's the very open type of abuse. Mental abuse is way more subtle. And it's usually from, a meathead can make you feel bodily insecure. But a soy boy, a guy who's really slimy and he just kind of he kind of pretends to be very like, oh, I'm just so into you, but he slowly breaks down your confidence, slowly manipulates you, distorts you, and does all types of things to undermine your confidence. And we have to be very careful of that. We really, really do. And we have to be aware, like, why is this guy saying that? And what is prompting him to say that? And how can I defend myself against men like that? And we must know we can never trust men like that. A confident man will not stop a confident woman from setting a boundary or clapping back to somebody who's abusing her. Good men say, where's the problem? Let's solve it. A Delta Force type of man. Where's the issue? Let's do it. A weak man who really wishes he could be a cult leader or who wishes he could, have his own form of a mental abuse on women or loves it, just controlling the women in his lives, like just down to the T, to everything they do. It's really just taxing and toxic and stressful and suppressive and oppressive, and it's just like a pillowcase over your head, just strangling you with their rules and regulations instead of encouraging you in a better way. We have to recognize those men are the most dangerous, are the ones who are, a subtle mental abusers. The physical ones, you can see them coming and you can prepare, right? If somebody clocks you, you're like, okay, for sure, I know that guy is abusive. But if somebody does it little by little round on the edges, a little bit of here, a little bit there, they're always siding with your enemies, they're always trying to encourage you to just let it go, or, making you second guess yourself, doubt yourself. I'm not saying they have to give in to your every impulse, but it's interesting to watch how some men act and how they're not very self-aware of their behavior and how telling it is. So it's time that we women come together and protect each other and help each other. Men have brotherhood, and girls, women, chicks, we catfight too much, and I think it's time we stop doing that and we start helping other women recognize when somebody's being mentally abusive to them, and we need to support them and help them stand firm against their abusers. So I've been thinking about this a lot lately, about how weak men really seek to control women and suppress them and manipulate them and twist their words, and a strong, confident, firm, good man doesn't do things like that. They solve the problem, they don't undermine the problem. Let me know what you think, ladies.